Welcome to Tales from the Tips. If you're catching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a like and hit that subscribe button. Drop us and leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. You can find every episode where you find your favorite podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and of course, download the Odyssey app and catch us on the Odyssey app. Just head to the Google Play or iPhone store and download Tales from the Tips. I'm DA. That guy over there is 15-year tour caddy, Mick Middlemo. We are just a couple of guys that love to talk about the game of golf, both inside and outside the ropes, but we come at it from a different perspective than what you will hear anywhere or see anywhere out there. How you doing, buddy?
I'm very good.
You ready?
I'm ready. Ready to roll.
Leo,
Let's do this.
Ready? We have a special guest today.
We do have a special guest today.
Let's grip it and rip it. All right.
I'm ready. What you got for me?
Episode 12.
Perfect. Let's do this.
So, executive producer Kim is back.
I'm gracing you all with my presence. The rare
A
sighting.
very rare sighting. The unicorn sighting.
Aren't we lucky?
We are. She's not going to be here for the whole thing, though. I think.
No, I think she'll dip out.
She'll bail out in 10 minutes.
But, you know, the funny part is she hasn't been aware of what we've been up to.
I've been listening. I've been listening, hence why I don't show up.
So she missed the Passion Foundation golf outing, which we talked about in episode 11. She's probably going to miss the golf tournament coming up on the 25th for the station outing, the Pets for Vets outing.
You're not playing in that one?
No, because I love pets and vets. I'll be there.
Oh, she's going to be there.
Oh, so you're going to actually? I'll see you hit some shots on the
range.
Do
you think we could get her to do some social hits out there on the course with us?
I think she can.
Okay.
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
What do you mean?
It's going to be very embarrassing.
Why?
Because I can't even hit the ball at Top Golf.
Neither can Leo. Leo hit some shots for us.
We do have Leo on B-roll. I don't know if he's going to let it. See, here's the thing. Leo has editing control. We have no chance with Leo on doing anything with him.
Well, the chances of Leo like photoshopping that whole thing and making it look like that ball went 300 yards is high on the list too.
Oh, he's going to use one of DeLong's drives and show it that was him.
You owe me a Titleist too, by the way.
Yeah, that thing's still in the woods.
It is in the woods.
Okay. But wait, so this is the good part about why I haven't been here. People are loving your podcast so much that everyone here wants a podcast now.
Can you believe this?
I actually do.
Like rave reviews.
We're two likable people.
Rave reviews.
3.
And so that makes me a very busy executive producer now.
Well, I mean, she did make the executive decision to launch the Front 9. We went from weekly episode recordings to now we got to record a bunch of them together.
That's because she's smart.
I know. A lot smarter than you and I.
Damn straight.
That's why we made her the executive producer. Yeah. Should we tell her about the Mick World Bar Tour?
Sure.
Yeah. Did you see that?
See the look on her face. See the look on her face.
All I can imagine is all the fantastic content that will come from that.
So we've made a couple of executive decisions since you didn't join us. Since episode 8, we did it in episode 5. Mm-hmm. I think she probably heard by now.
She probably has heard it.
I heard it.
Okay. And now that the Front 9 is out on release, I'm sure everybody will know. We got to start collecting our bars that we're gonna be touring to.
Yeah.
We have our first date though. Well, at least location. We don't have a date yet.
We don't have a date yet. We have a location. Very excited.
We got to do it though. By the way, Kim, this is breaking news. Mick is heading to Australia for a month.
Oh, hence the world. We actually can really make it a world tour.
We can make it a world tour.
Yeah.
Some of the bars in Australia would be really interesting world tour stuff.
Nice.
We're gonna have to get creative with the equipment and the recording.
Oh yeah, because I'm great at technology.
DA is not traveling to Australia.
No, well, I've got the perfect solution, and this is not a paid endorsement, but we will use Riverside.fm. It's awesome quality audio from anywhere in the world, and as long as you can plug in to your computer with a USB. Can you do that?
Yeah, I think I can work that out.
The button on the side of the laptop?
All right, stop it. I think I can work that out.
We're going to have step-by-step instructions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It depends how many drinks I've had at the time, too.
Oh, it might get easier.
Because the time change is going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Well, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Drunk Mick's funny, too, don't worry.
Oh, Drunk Mick is definitely funny. I've seen it firsthand.
You really haven't yet.
So episode episode 12,
Yep.
I wanted to kind of get a little bit more into some stories that you've told briefly. Well, let's just say on the outskirts. Two guys that are definitely interesting from a perspective of what you dealt with out on the course, but also behind, afterwards. Chopra and Greg Owen.
Yep.
Two guys that you have a ton of stories about.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get a little bit more into it with you about some of these stories because, and now obviously you've told the story about Greg when he slightly bent his putter
At
over his knee.
Colonial,
It
Colonial.
cost you a few shekels.
That's all right.
What would you say let's start with Greg.
Yep.
Because you were probably closest with Greg. I know you guys are still friends.
Yeah, we're still great friends. We talk a lot on the phone. I've been down and stayed at his house and stuff like that. Yeah, he's a great friend of mine.
Well, there was a point where you were even talking about going back down recently.
Yeah, I probably will. In the next couple of weeks, I may go down and play some golf with him again and stuff like that.
So here he is already, Kim. He's going to Australia for a month, and now he's going to leave us and go down to Florida and play golf.
Only at Bay Hill and Keens Point and things like that. Nothing special.
Sounds like somebody's got a tough life.
It is at the moment. Semi-retirement. Not
That-
really.
you
Not
are,
really.
You are in a career change.
I am in a career change.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
By the way, the podcast isn't making any money yet.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, it might be by the time this airs.
Maybe.
It could.
Right.
exactly.
Enough for his retirement?
I didn't
Hey,
make a lot
you
of money
never know.
I didn't make a lot of money out of caddying either, so let's not get carried away. If I
Well,
did,
when
there's
you
not
have
much
play-
left. Not when you have 3 ex-wives.
When you have players...
Wait, do they all have alimony?
No, they don't have alimony, but divorces are expensive.
This is a common theme on this podcast. Mick and his many, many divorces.
It's a very expensive accent. It's got me in a lot of trouble. Anyway, let's get back to Greg Owen and
Okay.
Daniel Chopra
So
before we
let's-
get off track.
Let's get. Well, I think the train's already off the track. Okay, so with Greg,
Yep.
first of all, how did you guys ever meet? That was the one question I looked back and we never talked about how you and Greg met.
I knew Greg from the tour, and we had always just sort of hang out a little bit and stuff like that and whatnot. So he was just a good player that I knew. We'd been in the group a couple of times, and we became friends. And I was caddying for Jared Lyle, and then Jared got sick I think it was the second time he was sick, and he was going to be out for a long time. And I was on vacation in Maine, and Greg called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, can you come and caddy for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, well, my caddy is having visa issues. He can't get back into the country, so I'm probably going to need a caddy for a couple of weeks. And I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, I can do that. The first event was at Congressional. And beautiful golf course too, by the way. I love that golf course. One of my favourites. And so, yeah, I was like, jumped on a plane. This was on the Monday. Jumped on a plane, got out of there, got there Wednesday. With no practice round because it's obviously the Pro-Am. We weren't in the Pro-Am. And so I walked the course, and then we hit balls on the range, and we teed it up. And after the first round, he was in first place, and which is a great start.
It's a good start.
It's a good start.
It's a good start.
It's a good start for a caddy. We didn't finish there. I think we had a good week that week, and he was just impressed with the way I worked and all that sort of stuff. And then we did the second week, and then his caddy was never going to have. He wasn't going to get back for like 6 or 7 months. So yeah, we just went from there. Away we went.
So you. In episode 10, you talk about Jared and the illness and then obviously his subsequent death. Was that a tough move, though, from going over from Greg?
It was a tough move for this fact that Greg and I were established for a couple of years, and then before Jared came back, and Jared and I spoke, and he's like, well, if you're happy where you are, stay where you are. I get another caddy, get another Australian caddy, and that's just the way that sort of worked out. That's just the way it went, yeah.
So, okay, so you and Greg then were clipping along.
Yep.
Where was he at money-wise? How were you guys doing?
So yeah, this is a lot of Jamesons ago to think about this.
This is not a sponsored tag.
It should
Jameson.
be. Should be.
Kim, can you work on a sponsorship?
Yeah, I'll
with
go ahead and
Jameson?
put that package together right
Yeah,
now.
that would
Thank you.
be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just. What was the question again? I got sidetracked with Jameson.
Where was he at? Like, how were you guys doing? Like, because that's always the question.
He kept his card that year, and so we were good to go the next year. Then he lost his card, and I think my problem was I was loyal to a fault. You know, he's going to go back and play the web.com tour or nationwide tour, whatever it was at the time. And so I was like, okay, look, he's my guy. He's who I caddy for. You know, we're going to do this as a team, and you know, we're going to get our card back together, and that would be something, you know, to accomplish. And we did it a couple times. We did it, I think, once we finished in the top 25 to get back into the PGA Tour, and another time we went through Q School and we got through Q School to get his card back. So, but you know, I was with Greg for 5.5 years.
Any chance of making it out there with him on the Champions Tour?
100%. We've actually spoken about it. 100%.
So now, Kim, we're going to lose him not only to Australia, Florida to play golf, and now he's going to go back and be on the tour, caddying.
All I have to do is plug a USB thing in, apparently, and I'm good to go.
Well, again, not a paid endorsement, but Riverside has also got an awesome app. You got a phone.
I actually I actually have it on there.
Oh, sweet. Then you're good to go.
I could actually show it to you.
So this leads to a question. I'm sure the tour won't allow you to be videoing and recording while you're out there caddying.
Probably not during the tournament, but practice rounds and stuff, okay. Absolutely.
See, we could have some exclusive content that no one else can get.
I know a lot of the players on the Champions Tour. A lot.
Oh, the YouTube channel's going to be on fire.
Like Steve Elko, who's won the Schwab Cup for the last 2 years. He's a great friend of mine. Steve Elko's a great guy. Him and his wife, fantastic people. Journeyman, who, you know, missed like 26 cuts in a row on the web.com tour, and now he owns that tour out there now. It's awesome to see because he's one of the nicest men you'd ever meet. One of the nicest.
So we've just had all sorts of things happening on this episode. We've got you moving around, you're changing careers.
I'm just all over the place right now.
Well, let's go back to Greg.
Yeah.
Because I can't let this thing go off the track. So obviously we talked about Colonial and the meltdown.
Yep.
One of the best moments out on the course with him.
British Open. Caddying for him at the Lytham St Anne's was awesome, and you know, holing out his second shot on 18 to make the cut was awesome. That was a good story. There's a lot of the good stories are sort of off the golf course and stuff like that, because you know, we have a great friendship off the golf course. And I think one of our better stories was we were driving across the country somewhere. I was on a web.com event and stuff like that, and there'd been a huge flood. Like there was a huge flood in like basically through Nebraska and everything like that. And we were driving through there, and the main roads were cut off. So we're like, we've got to find another way to get there. This was just crazy. So we all of a sudden try to take these back roads, and we end up like in this dirt road. Like, and there's probably been like a foot
in the middle of Nebraska.
In the middle of Nebraska, we're on this dirt road, and now it turns into mud. Right, we're in farmer country. We have no idea where we are.
You're just driving through people's yards.
Pretty much.
Farms.
So I'm driving, and we're driving up this road that's now turned into mud, and now the wheels start to spin, and I'm like, we're going to get stuck. And we're literally in the middle of nowhere. So Greg gets out. He's like, I've got this. So he's out the back of the car, and he's trying to push as I'm spinning the wheels. So I spin the wheels, and he just gets absolutely covered in mud, right? And he's got all these new Adidas gear on and all that sort of stuff, and so
Adidas.
It's
what?
That's how you say it. It's Adidas. It's not Adidas.
Says who?
Adidas? Says the rest of the world. It's like the metric. It's like
Here we go.
It's like the metric system.
Again, not a paid endorsement. That's interesting.
Not a paid endorsement, no. It's called aluminum. No, it's aluminium. We'll get onto that later.
That I can't even say.
We'll get onto that later.
Not to get too political. We're going to have to fact check this.
You can fact check it all you want, because the guy, I'm not, anyway. But, so that was, and he gets back in the car. He's covered in mud. We finally got off that road and finally found it where we were supposed to be. But we actually joke about it occasionally, because he was covered head to toe in mud, because I may have accelerated a little too quick when he was behind the car, just trying to give me a little bit of a push. So that's not. That's like the.
That doesn't sound accidental.
That's like it was. That's like the glamorous. While other people were flying private, we were getting stuck in cornfields in Nebraska. So that's the other side of what people don't see. So yeah, but Greg was probably one of the best ball strikers I've ever caddied for. I mean, he could flush it. He hit some of the best shots that you could ever imagine. I mean, we were at Q School in Florida and playing Orange County National, and Peter Lonart, who I've spoken about, he's in our group. And it was a cold, wet, kind of rainy kind of day, and we're into this par 5, and he rips this driver off the tee. And then he's got like 290 to the hole. It's like into the wind and stuff. So he just pulls driver off the deck and hits it to like 6 feet. I mean, he hit shots that were just phenomenal. I mean, his putting let him down, and he'd be the first to admit that he wasn't the greatest putter in the world. But as a ball striker...
That's also another documented statement on the podcast.
It is. But as a ball striker...
We're going to have Greg on just to either...
Oh, he'll come on for sure. He'll come on and beat me up for telling these stories, probably.
That's all right. It'll be fun to have somebody on here to beat you up a little bit.
It will be. But one of the best ball strikers ever. Great short game. I mean, we would play practice rounds with Justin Rose, and Justin Rose would be like, how come this guy doesn't win? And Greg will be the first to admit he got into his own way, into his own head too much. He was very, very... If something would go wrong, it was like, well, how did that happen? And then he'd be trying to figure it out and trying to fix it and stuff like that. Like, I remember being on the range with him, and we're hitting 3-woods, and he's hitting... He must have hit 23 woods in a row, like on a frozen rope, just like bullet shots down the fairway. Every one of them's perfect. And then he hits one with like this 15-yard cut. And he turns to me and he looks at me and says, what was that? And I'm like, the law of averages? I'm like, it's gonna happen eventually. But he would spend more time worried about that one shot than the 20 good ones that he hit. Yeah. And he admits to that now. I mean, he's since he's sort of been off the tour and stuff, he's had time to think about it and speak to some, whether he speaks to psychologists or sports psychs and stuff like that. He knows that now. So he's really trying to invent himself on that.
I was going to say, so he's working on that part of his game now.
He's playing on the European Champions Tour or the Legends Tour, whatever they call it over there. He's doing some stuff. The hard way to make money playing on that tournament because there's no money out there. But eventually, he wants to get on the Champions Tour here. And if he does get on the Champions Tour here, he will make a lot of money. He'll play great on that tour. All right. It's just all set up for him because he's such a great ball striker.
When are you guys targeting to get out there?
I don't know. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. I don't think he's playing Q School this year. Okay. I think he's just going to try to Monday into some events next year.
Just Monday qualify.
Just try to Monday qualify into some events and get in that
play high enough,
like Steve Alker did. That's how Steve Alker got in there. Try to do the same thing. So you use that sort of thing. But yeah, Greg was a phenomenal player, and still is. I went played with him not that long ago, and still hits it miles past me when I'm 2 tees ahead of him.
Well, we're still not going to. Well, we'll get into it. If you go back and listen to episode 11, we'll talk about Mick's trick shot off the tee. That was interesting. And then
I think it's on film.
It is on film.
Yeah.
We also have it on film where we proved you wrong that you couldn't hit a 2-iron further than my driver.
That's correct. I couldn't.
Okay.
I hit it straight though.
I just wanted to make sure we've got that now a couple times on recording that.
Fact.
Yeah, okay.
Not scared. It's fact.
Okay. All right.
You hit the ball a long way for a little short fella.
I do, don't I? It's my weight.
It's quite surprising. If it was your weight, I should hit it at 400.
Oh, there you go. I can get it around a little bit.
She's looking at her watch. She has to leave.
Yeah, I know. She's getting ready to take off over there.
Well, if I am looking to invest in an AI solution that can replicate me at least 5 or 6 times, so...
AI Kim.
My own little...
I don't know about this. I don't know how I feel about this.
I think one's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep one Kim.
Bye, Kim.
The real Kim.
Bye, Kim.
Swifty Kim will come back at some point, right?
She's leaving. Bye, Kim.
Right. Bye, Kim.
Bye, guys.
See you in 10 episodes.
Maybe when we make the turn again.
Yeah, something like that. It should be in the bar.
So let's talk about. Obviously, there's more with Greg.
Yeah, he was one of the harder guys I had to caddy for.
But he's one of your good friends.
Oh, absolutely, he was one of the hardest guys I caddied for.
Is it because of your friendship?
No, he was demanding of himself, and so
you couldn't get him out of his own head.
A lot of the times, yeah. And he'd be the first,
which is part of your job.
Yeah, and he'd be first to admit that a lot of times and stuff like that. And yeah, he was such a talent, and he still is. Like I said, when he gets on the Champions Tour, he's going to make a lot of money on the Champions Tour. There is no doubt. But again, you try so hard. He tried so hard to make everything perfect, and tried so hard to be great at what he was doing that sometimes he got in his own way. He's not the only golfer to do that by any stretch of the imagination. I caddied for Tripp Eisenhower, and Tripp was, a journeyman. I think he won 4 or 5 times on the web.com tour. And caddying for Tripp, every week we had a new gadget. We had a new thing we were going to try. And, we finished 3rd at the Honda. And, and he was doing all this great stuff. And I think next week may have been Riviera. And we go out to Riviera after a 3rd place finish. And he's like, well, got to change some things up. What? It's like, you just finished 3rd. Yeah, but I think if we had done this, I'm like, if you had a whole 2 putts, you would have won the tournament.
Okay, so... let's stay there because this is definitely not what we were planning on talking about. How many times did you see either a swing coach or an apparatus? Now you're get in the way of what one of your
Trip
guys
Eisenhower every week. It was a swing apparatus. He had things stuck down his pants to stop him going this way, and he had more rods and things like everywhere. It looked like something out of tin cup. You know, it was like he was the guy that used to, and he's a Georgia Tech guy.
Yeah.
Too smart for his own good. And sometimes the more intelligent you are as a golfer, sometimes it's worse.
Yeah.
Because then you're over-analysing everything, and you're just trying the swing plane. And this was always, it's my swing coach is coming down today to look at this. And
Well, they're perfectionists.
Correct. Correct.
I mean,
but
the majority of golfers, that's one of the characteristic traits that you look at.
Yeah.
Is becoming a perfect, because it's never going to be perfect.
But there are some guys who it's ruined their careers. Like it ruined Ian Baker Finch's career. Because what you talk about a guy who swung it as nice as anybody ever could on tour. He won a Open Championship, but then he was fixated because he had to hit the ball so far, and it ruined his game because he was like, I have to find more length, I have to find more length, I have to find more length, and it's just no, you don't. You were pretty good the way you're doing it,
right?
But there's always expectations. If I didn't win this week, well, then I have to try something else. 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 But they're
so that, in your opinion, that's what happened with Tripp.
Oh, yeah, he completely got in his own head, went in his own way with trying to fix things up and change swings. I said, we came up a third place finish where he was playing great. And then it's just like, and he changed coaches at one stage. He went to Paul Gow's coach at one stage, Gary Edwin. And then they have a whole different sequence of how they like to do things and stuff like that. Their hip is forward. It's a really different swing and stuff like that. So he even tried that at the end, and that was like right towards the tail end of his career.
Okay.
But I mean, the amount of swing coaches he went through, the amount of gadgets he tried on the thing, and I'm going to put my sleeve under here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this week. This week we're trying this. This week we're going to try this pattern. This week we're going to be
the
trying
basic towel drill underneath the.
We started with that, but then it was a towel, then it was a glove, then it was a hat. It was like all different things. It was like it's. He carried more things in the bag that I've ever imagined. In fact, one of them too many times because he used to have a weighted club in his bag, and we were playing at. I think was it Greensboro? It might have been the old Greensboro. I can't remember. I think it was Greensboro, and we were in the second last group on Sunday.
I don't know.
You don't want to go down the story?
We're in the second. I'm afraid of what.
So we're in the second last group on Sunday, and he's got his weighted club. He's on the range, swinging his weighted club. He puts it back in the bag. Every day I've taken it out of the bag, give it to him. He puts it in his locker. I give it to him on the range. I follow him to the locker room. We stop. He starts talking to somebody, just going through his routine. He's blah, 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 blah. I go around. I use the restroom. I come back. We're ready to go. I pick up the clubs. We go to the first tee. The person on the tee is going through the Darryl survey. What clubs you got, what ball you got, this, that, the other thing. We play the first hole. I get to the second tee. The weighted club's in the bag. So I look, and I'm like, my first instinct is to look at it and go, I wonder if I could dump that somewhere. Like if I wanted to just go to the restroom and dump that somewhere. That's the Australian coming out of me. And then I look down at him, and I'm like, I thought you put this inside. He goes, I thought you put that inside. I'm like, you had it. I thought you put it inside. Misunderstanding. We call the rules official. 2-shot penalty.
2-shot penalty. Now, thankfully you caught it after one hole.
Yeah. Thankfully, it didn't have one of those grip things on it and special grip. Otherwise, it would have been a non-conforming golf club and he would have been disqualified. Because I think we finished 5th that week, even with the 2-shot penalty.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's...
that's getting it completely off track because we're going to talk about Daniel, which we still can. I'm going to tell you something. That was not the first and only penalty I had on the PGA Tour as a caddy.
Okay, well, you gotta elaborate then, because
so the first time I ever caddied on the PGA Tour was for Anthony Painter. I think we've talked about this from Australia. It was at Endicott, New York.
Okay.
So I get called caddying for a Shane Tate on the web.com tour. He doesn't want me anymore. He's got his wife coming to caddy. Anthony's like, yep, come up and caddy. Great guy, knock around guy from Australia. Very funny man. And So we have our practice rounds, we do our thing, we stand on the first tee.
We need more Australians back out on the tour.
Yeah, we do.
Get you back in the rotation.
We stand on the first tee, and the guy we were playing with, and I can't remember his name now, it slips me, he's like, oh, the tee's, and who else was it? Oh, Hank Keeney was in there. And he's like, the tee's 15 minutes behind. Okay, cool. So we go back down to the putting green. And he's got his yardage book, and he's like, "This is what I want you to do. This is what I expect. I mean, we have green light flags, and this one's not a green light flag for me. This is any backlift pen is good because he likes to hit a draw." So we're going through this, and all of a sudden, Hank Kinney goes, "Paints, you're on the tee." I'm like, what? So we go running up there, and we missed our tee start, so it was a 2-shot penalty.
Oh,
so he's hitting 3 off the tee. That was my first hole as a caddy on the PGA Tour. He didn't blame me for it because he was the one that said, "Let's go off the tee and start talking about." Putting and stuff like that. And
red light, green light.
Yeah, red light, green light. And so my first hole as a caddy on the PGA Tour was a 2-shot penalty.
Way to start your career.
No, double bogey on the
Double
first. Double
bogey
bogey on the first. Double bogey on the first.
There you go.
Great start.
Yeah. All right, so before we go over to Daniel, the craziest apparatus that you've seen one of your guys use.
It was probably.
I have to ask this because it's been going through my head since you started bringing up.
It was probably Tripp because he used to put the alignment sticks down his pants, so he wouldn't. So he'd have one.
So instead of right next to him, he literally would put it.
Yeah, he would
physically
put it
in his.
he would have one down there, then he'd have another one behind him where the club had to go. Then he had 2 in front of him where the exit plane where he wanted one to go, and it was just and then he'd have one on the ground and setting things up, and it was just and it was even VJ would walk past because VJ. You talk about a guy that liked to tinker and have all sorts of gadgets. VJ was another one, and so they would compare. What are you trying this week? What do you got this week? So if there was a new gadget to be had, Tripp would have it out there. That's for certain.
So you had the putting mirrors. You had everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, we had now that's something he was really pedantic about. He had the putting mirrors. We had the chalk lines, and we'd have the chalk lines on the on the greens and the mirrors, and he was a very good putter. But he worked very hard on it too.
Yeah.
So, every putting gadget known to man I was on.
You've had it.
Tripp's had it. I've carried crazy things, and he had all of them.
So okay,
all right. Greg wasn't into all that sort of stuff.
Maybe Greg should have worked on some of the putting gadgets.
No, he worked. He worked. I'll tell you what, he did work hard on his putting though.
Okay, so before we go there, well, let's kind of touch on it. What do you think was his where was his shortfall in putting?
We see putting differently. See, I see every putt as straight. Every putt is.
I know this firsthand.
Yeah, every putt is a straight putt to me because I can't make the ball do this.
Right.
I have to hit it to a spot, and then gravity's going to do the rest. I don't like to. I'm not going to smash the ball in the hole. I like to die the ball into the hole. So what I saw and he saw were 2 different things.
Okay.
He would see 2 balls outside left. I don't see that. If I've got a 15-foot putt, I'm going to stand 3 foot in front of the hole and see where the break comes from the last 3 feet. So we would struggle to read putts together.
Okay.
Because he couldn't understand my philosophy and I didn't understand his philosophy of it so much. So, and again, putting is one of those things. It's just you're either really good at it or you're really not.
Right.
You have to have a feel for it. It's like playing pool. It's like playing darts. You have to have a feel for certain things, And he really struggled. He struggled with that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is the one thing and that was when we were out playing. Mm-hmm. That was the one thing I'd noticed with you when we were kind of looking at it in different areas. You were always kind of it's straight to here.
Yeah, and then the rest is history.
And then then it's just contour at that point.
Yeah.
And if you get a lucky break because of a ball mark or
you actually hold some nice putts too. Well, some good fist pumping too. I can't wait to see those, Leo.
Those are for social media.
I can't wait to see those. They were good.
Make sure you tune in.
But he did. He worked incredibly hard on his putting.
Yeah.
He really did. And he had some great weeks. I mean, when we qualified for the British Open, 36 holes, he shot 61, 62. So it wasn't like he couldn't putt, I can assure you.
I was going to say.
Very streaky.
There's nobody out on tour that can't putt.
But when he got going, It's and that's the thing. It's and he could roll the rock. I mean, he rolled a really good one in there at Memorial on the 18th. I think 30 feet with about 10 foot of break to finish 5th. So he could roll it. He got streaky, that's for sure.
Yeah. hole just gets big.
Where Daniel Chopra was one of the best putters I've ever caddied for, and he grew up putting cross-handed. He's always putted cross-handed.
I see. I've never been able to do that.
Me either. But he grew up that way.
I couldn't do the claw. I couldn't. I remember watching in our time when I was playing actively, David Duval with the claw grip.
He probably was like the guy that started it.
I could never figure it out.
No, I've tried it. I've never tried it actually playing. I've tried it messing around on the putting green, but I would never do it on the golf course. But Daniel, he was cross-handed the whole way, and he was an amazing putter.
Yeah. Okay, so if you compare Daniel and Greg, what were the differences because obviously you guys were aligned when he was out there putting.
Confidence.
Is that it?
Yeah, straight up. Greg always doubted himself a little bit as a putter and stuff, so he worked hard, and he got Greg was very mechanical. You could see, like, when he was uncomfortable, he would sort of get in here, and this shoulder had to be here, and this one had to be here, and so, again, and that's what some people do. Daniel is more fluent. Daniel would just walk up and see the line and go, okay, I'm just going to hit it there. Yeah. I think I may have read 2 putts for Daniel in all the years I caddied for him, but he didn't have to. He knew what he was doing.
He just saw it.
Yeah, he just saw it. He'd just walk up there.
And there's guys and gals out there that they walk up to a green and they see things, and you're like, how did you even see that?
And his short game was phenomenal. I mean, he had a great shot. He could get up and down out of anywhere, and as wide as he hit it, he had to, because we've discussed this before. Daniel could hit some wide shots. Yeah. I mean, he hit more wide shots than anyone I've ever caddied for.
I think one's still traveling out of bounds, as you
in Greenville, South Carolina. It hasn't not landed yet. I can assure you. But yeah, he could putt and chip. Everybody knew it. I mean, yeah. There's always a joke there, because I think he was in Golf Digest at one stage. He was practicing hitting flop shots over his Lamborghini.
Well, have you seen the viral the social media videos of Bryson right now?
Oh yeah. The ones where he's
hitting
trying
the 100-yard over his house.
Hitting the hole-in-one over his house, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 7 or 8 as of today. As of this recording.
I think through one eye last night, I think I saw 7.
Yeah. Through one eye.
Through one eye last night, I think I saw 7.
Is that a Jameson eye?
It was a Jameson eye last night.
Got it.
Shameless plug.
Okay, so with Daniel.
Yeah.
Most favorable, memorable moment out on the course.
Probably when I first started caddying for him. There's probably a few. Because when I took over caddying for him, he'd had a horrible season. And it was actually Greg Owen's caddy and Daniel Chopra's caddies. We just switched. We just flip-flopped. Because
why not?
Well, because Daniel Chopra's caddy, Hodge, he's a great mate of mine from Australia. And he was given, and he's a pro back in Australia. He was a teaching pro. So he got into the caddying, and so he was giving Greg some tips and advice. And, I'd been with Greg 5.5 years, and I think Greg was like, yeah, maybe I need a change. And it's fine. It's just, it's good. I don't know animosity. It's like, if you're going
to... Sometimes like when you leave a job.
Yeah, different set of eyes. So he asked Hodgie to do that. So then I called Daniel, and Daniel was like, yeah, sure, come on board, let's go. And he'd had a horrible season up until that stage. So we went to, I'm trying to think where we were. Might have been St. Simon's Island or something like that, something down there, one of the Sea Island. And we finished 8th or 9th in the first event, which is a great start for it when you're a caddy, because now you're walking around like, look at me, I'm a genius. I turned this man's career around.
I got him figured out.
As most caddies, I turned him around. I'm like, no, you didn't. That's always been my favourite. No, you didn't. He just had a good week. I didn't do anything. Stayed out of his way, gave him yardages. And then the next week, I think we 3-putted the last to finish like 11th at Disney. No, we didn't 3-putt the last. He hit it into the greenside bunker, and he had a huge rock in front of his ball, and you weren't allowed to take rocks out of the bunker.
Right.
And he hit this bunker shot that just went sideways, and we ended up making a bogey or a double bogey or something like that. So, and so then after that, I was like, what's your next event? Because that was the end of the tour, and he missed his card. He's like, he came close to getting it at the end. He's like, well, I'm going to go and play Malaysia and Thailand and stuff like that. And I said, can I come? He's like, really? You want to come? I was like, yeah, I'd love to go. So we went over there, and we finished, I think, 4th or 5th in both events.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we got beaten by Charles Schwartzel in one of them and Sergio Garcia in the other. I think we finished second. No, we finished second to Sergio. Okay. Because Sergio shot 62 on the last day to beat us. Because I think we had a 2-shot lead, and the only 2 scoreboards on the golf course, one on the 9th and one on the 18th. So we had a 2-shot lead at the start of the day. We're in the final round. We shoot 3 under on the front. And I'm thinking, we're in great shape here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking maybe a 4-shot lead and stuff like that. We make the turn and we're like 2 behind Sergio because Sergio's like shot 28 on the front or something. I'm like, oh, cool. This is good. And Sergio ended up beating us. I actually do have a photo of actually strangling him in the clubhouse after he beat us. But he was great because he bought us drinks all night. So.
As he should.
As he should have. He had taken our money off us.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so that he played great those 2 weeks. And then I think in Thailand, Charles Schwartzel beat us. And I said, I think we finished 5th. But we were in the final day, final group both days with Charles Schwartzel. And he put on a clinic. Charles Schwartzel put on a clinic to beat us that day.
So then after that, you came back.
Yeah, web.com.
Okay.
Because I was like, yeah, this guy, and he got his card back on the web.com. And then away we went again.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many years did you end up spending with him?
Yep. Sorry, that's my fault, Leo. My phone should have been on silent.
Oh boy. Technical recording.
Leo, he jumped up. I'll fix that.
I don't know how we'll edit that out.
Nah. Oh, it's good. It's a good song. It's Thunderstruck. You could leave that on. Everyone knows my ringtone now.
Right.
I think I was with Daniel for about 4 years as well, maybe 4 or 5 years. And then he kind of... Actually, I did my last ever event caddying with Daniel.
Okay.
When I finished with Michelle Wee, and that didn't end great with Michelle because, she likes to get rid of caddies. So, and then I called Daniel and I'm like, you want to do one more?
Because that's not how you wanted to go out.
Yeah, I didn't want to go out that way.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm looking for a caddy because I heard he was looking. So I called him and I was like, I've got one left in me because I said, I'm going to be done after this. I am literally done. With everything that would happen with Robert and then just everything had gone on, it was just like a circus the last 2 years. So I was like, I just want to be done. And he was on the web.com tour and I was like, all right, Lafayette, Louisiana.
That's where it finished.
That's where it finished. So I drove to Lafayette, Louisiana, and we finished 7th.
Have you ever talked to? Because he's eligible for champions.
Yeah, he's doing the same thing. He's just sort of just bumming around. He
does broadcasting.
He does broadcasting, and he's good at it too.
Yeah, he's very good.
He's been doing broadcasting, but I saw he tried to qualify in a couple. He did play in the Senior British Open. I did see that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see that.
Who's carrying for him now?
I have no idea. I don't think he'd have a full-time caddy now. Like, if you go out and play those events, you just pick up a caddy in the parking lot and do that sort of stuff. So, because he's not playing full-time now. So, and he's a great friend of mine too. So we still reach out. We talk cricket. We talk cricket a lot because he loves his cricket.
I was going to say what's a behind-the-scenes story?
We talk cricket. We cricket all the time.
Cricket.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to leave this episode with is cricket.
Behind the scenes story. He was pretty quiet. We'd go out, have dinner, and that's it. He was pretty quiet. He's not a big drinker. He's no world champion drinker. That's for sure. 1 or 2 he's done.
That's it.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't need to hang with the caddies. He's not good for hang with caddies. There's plenty of other players who we'll get to at a later date who love hanging with caddies and love drinking with caddies. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus here, Rich Beam. David Duvall.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll have to get into those.
We will.
All right. Well, thanks for teeing it up with us. Follow us on Instagram, X,
YouTube.
I don't know if she's created a TikTok.
Not yet.
No.
YouTube.
Check us out for all of our new episodes, content. We're going to try to get Mick to do a few more social media hits. Check out episode 11 about that. We hope your drives are straight, your putts are short, and your scores are low as we tee it up on Tales from the Tips. See you next time, guys.
See you guys.